G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, I'll be showcasing the Granite Belt region, an area of incredible natural beauty and steep, harsh terrain. Now this landscape provides more than just a beautiful view. It has become an important refuge site for the endangered Brushtail rock wallaby, and this species will be my major focus for this episode. So stay tuned to learn more about these adorable little macropods. The Granite Belt is situated on the western side of the Great Dividing Range, around the New South Wales and Queensland border. The high elevation of the range provides stunning mountainous outlooks, and although the area gets far less rainfall than the eastern side of the range, there is still stunning waterfalls and waterways to become immersed in. These waterways have carved their way through the hard 200 million year old granite over time to create these incredible landscapes, and they have become a vital resource for the wildlife of these areas. Much of the bird life in this region can be found around the creeks, streams and waterholes, including the stunning pale-headed rosella. These beautiful yellow and blue parrots come to the edge of the waterways to feed on seeding plants such as this, and will often nest in the hollows of eucalyptus trees in the area. In these nests, females will lay between 4 to 8 eggs and incubate them over the space of around 19 days. They will often choose locations close by to the water for ease of food, shelter, and a place to drink. When spending enough time around these waterholes, you could be led to believe that Australia has otters, but in fact, this is the rakali, a species of native rodent to Australia. They resemble an otter in many features and habits. Their elongated body, supported with a thick, muscular tail, helps them glide through the water effortlessly, and their hind feet are partially webbed to assist in efficient paddling. Their fur repels water like that of a duck, so even in these cold climates, once they exit the water, they can dry off in no time. As rakalis are mostly aquatic, much of their diet reflects this, feeding on fish, aquatic insects, crayfish, crabs and mussels. They will spend much of their time duck diving and foraging below the water's surface, just like this, collecting food items in their mouth and taking them back to their favourite log or rock amongst the water shore. Rakalis are an incredibly unique animal in Australia and don't get the appreciation they deserve. Good populations of rakali are a good indication of a healthy waterway. Thankfully, this region supports many healthy waterways, which wind their way through the valleys and mountain sides. They also support another aquatic mammal species, which is far more well known and even more unique: the platypus. Australia has some unique wildlife, but as far as appearance goes, they don't get much more bizarre than a platypus. A duck-like bill, webbed feet, and a beaver-like tail makes them unlike anything else in the world. Not to mention the fact they are only one of 2 mammals worldwide which lay eggs, known as a monotreme, the other being another Australian species, the echidna. I was incredibly fortunate to be able to witness 2 platypus in this single waterhole one afternoon. Platypus are incredibly shy creatures and spend most of the day sheltered in the short burrows they form in the edge of the creek banks. They are most active at night or early mornings and late afternoons. In this case, the weather was incredibly overcast and drizzling rain, favourable conditions for a platypus to forage in. Their incredible bill is their primary sense organ when foraging for food. It is equipped with sensors sensitive to pressure and will sift its bill through the loose substrate on the bottom of the waterway to search for food items such as freshwater invertebrates. It can spend between 30 seconds to 2 minutes underwater, collecting food items in its cheek pouches before surfacing and chewing the food with its grinding plates, which get through tough exoskeletons and the shells of freshwater mussels and snails. But it's time to escape the waterways and climb into the steep rocky hills in search for the endangered brushtail rock wallabies. Rock wallabies are most active at night, however they can still be seen during the day. My best chance during these winter months is being out at first light, sometimes before the fog is lifted, in hope that I may see one basking in the sun. My journey for these animals takes me into some remote and isolated areas, where small populations still remain. Thankfully, no matter the track, the troopy never lets me down. I managed to see brushtail rock wallabies on more than one occasion, however filming them seemed to continually prove a challenge. Finally, after many attempts, I managed to spot this individual sheltering among the granite boulders. Brushtail rock wallabies were once common along most of the east coast of Australia. However, early settlers declared this species a pest, and between the years of 1884 and 1914, a cash bounty was paid to kill over 500,000 of them. Now, isolated populations still remain, often in these steep rocky escarpments, where they're able to find refuge away from introduced species such as foxes, which will hunt and kill small wallabies, and goats, which compete with the wallabies for food. Brushtail rock wallabies can be recognised from other wallaby species with their white cheek stripes and a strong black stripe running from its forehead to the back of its head. But of course, the main feature which it gets its name is its long brushy tail, which is noticeably more thick and bushy at the tail tip. These rock wallabies find shelter through the day in caves or among large granite boulders such as this. This wallaby notices my presence initially, however quickly establishes I'm not a threat, carrying out scratching and grooming, but still keeps an eye out for any passing threats. It's incredible to witness the areas these wallabies live in. The cliff faces in which they call home are almost sheer drop-offs, sometimes hundreds of metres straight down. That long bushy tail helps act as a counterweight, and they effortlessly bounce up and down this terrain with absolute precision. Just one slight error of misjudgment would mean certain death if they fell. Brushtail rock wallabies are social animals and form small colonies with dominance hierarchies. Where one is found, often there are others nearby, although their shy and secretive nature often makes them difficult to spot. They will engage in grooming one another, where one animal will bite and lick the fur of another, which may serve as asserting dominance. Other observed communications between rock wallabies include making hissing cough sounds and nose jabbing, which is exactly how it sounds. Today, brushtail rock wallabies number around 20,000. The issue with this is how widespread and isolated populations of wallabies can be. The southern population is of most concern, with one last remaining population known in Victoria, which in 2008 was thought to number less than 20 individuals. Thanks to dedicated conservation efforts, this number is now roughly doubled. However, much work must continue to protect Victoria's most critically endangered species of mammal.
If you've been following the channel for a while now, you're probably aware that I'm not particularly fond of cold climates. So you're probably wondering why I'd base myself in a region that often gets below freezing through winter. Well, for good reason. Obviously I'd love to see the Brushtail rock wallabies, but also I'm preparing myself for what's coming next. We're no longer going to be refined to Australia, we're heading international, and the climates we're heading to get much colder than this, so be sure to stay tuned. Subscribe, turn notifications on, because this channel's only just warming up, and unfortunately, I'm not.